Welcome back to another episode of BioTalk with Bales. And today we are going to be talking about all crunchy things, talking about things that you wear, things that you can control, things that you can't control, and maybe a few additional things that I feel like are very beneficial for your health. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper together. So let's go. But before we get started, disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any sort of disease. Nothing discussed should be considered medical advice or a substitute for guidance from your physician or your medical health professional. Topics may include holistic health, nutrition, supplements, and emerging research. Many of these areas are still evolving, and products may be discussed to be intended for research purposes only. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode on the pod of BioTalk with Bales. Today, I got a special episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about all the crunchy things, everything crunchy related. You guys know me as a very crunchy individual. If you guys do not know what crunchy means, it basically means I care about every single thing that I am touching, consuming, ingesting, watching, things that I breathe, all that kind of stuff. And that's what a crunchy individual is. But we're going to start off first with really talking about free ways to actually biohack on a budget at $0 and 0 cents. These are great things that I feel like you can really implement into your daily life that will honestly just help you live longer and have better longevity and honestly feel better. I've noticed so much differences in my entire life by implementing these things, and I know that you guys will too. A few free things that I feel like everyone can benefit from, because I talk so much about like oxidative stress and I talk a ton about, things that are weight on us every single day, is moving our bodies. Right? Moving our bodies is one of the most important things that we can do. I always say anxiety can't hit a moving target. Depression can't hit a moving target. Get those steps in. Get your 10K steps in. Move your body in some sort of way. For myself, I go to Burn Boot Camp. I did solid core for a long time too. I absolutely love that. Whatever option you have at your fingertips, even just walking outside, walking wherever, do that for yourself. It's so good for your brain. It's so good for your mental clarity. It is one of the most amazing things that your body can do. That's why you see these 80-year-olds out there with their 2-pound dumbbells walking around. They know something that we don't. A few things that I really like to do that I feel like have helped me a lot is reading. I think we spend so much time on our phones. We spend so much time watching TV, consuming content, right? Obviously, I want you to stay as long as you can for my podcast and listen here. But, having a nice book, reading something that is just going to, juice your brain up in a natural way, I feel like is always going to help. It's something that I've definitely implemented and I really enjoy. A lot of you guys know about me that I like to read different fantasy books like Fourth Wing and just lots of different ones like Court Roan of Thorns. I haven't read that one yet, so I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. Someone's gonna botch me for it in the comments, but great series. Like, just find something that you enjoy reading. Even if it's something that's going to propel you, like Atomic Habits. It's a great book as well for like motivation, ambition, success, all that kind of stuff. I highly encourage doing something like that too. Another thing that I feel like would be really beneficial for everyone, and this is something that I really lack in actually my personal life, is because I live in the Midwest, is getting that natural sunlight. Most of you guys know that I got my blood work back pretty recently, and I found out that my vitamin D levels are chronically low, chronically, like below baseline, where my naturopath was like, hey, you should like book a vacation to like get some more vitamin D, like as a joke. And I was like, great, can you write that off for me? I would love to just be able to get a free vacation. So I'll just say getting that natural sunlight in, it's so important in the mornings, really setting up your circadian rhythm for success. I always talk about that so much because I know for myself that I just feel so much better when I have that sunlight. I feel so much better when my vitamin D levels are actually adequate and are supposed to be somewhere. There's a reason why we need the sunlight and we need to be seeing that, not be in these little boxes all the time, and get that sunlight in. But those are a few ways that I really think you can biohack your life for free. Those are super easy ones, pretty basic ones, I feel like. But if you guys have other ones that you feel like are really great for you, throw them down in the comments. I think that there's other people who can really learn from everyone and different ways that have really helped them in their life and even managing stress, providing a better body to live in, right? Like we only got one body, so we need to take care of them. The next thing that I really want to talk about is things that I have really implemented in my life, things that I've paid for that maybe haven't been cheap, but have honestly really helped me in my health journey, really getting to where I am, feeling the best that I've ever felt. I'm still kind of going through things right now, as you guys know, with my mold exposure and then really just trying to detoxify myself. So these are obviously a little bit biased as well, but I feel like it's been really beneficial. The one thing that I feel like is a great purchase and anyone can really benefit from is a red light therapy panel. I bought a professional one literally this past year. I was wanting one for like 5 years, you guys, like a really, really long time. I waited and I saved, and I will tell you, it is one of the best investments that I have. Like, I use it at least 4 to 5 to 6 times per week because it just makes me feel so good. My husband will come in and he'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like literally napping. Like I'm asleep. Like it just calms my nervous system. It calms me. Like it's just that nice 20 to 30 minutes just for myself. And it's been a great investment that I think that everyone can really benefit from as well. Kind of moving into another one that I feel like is beneficial. One that I don't have, definitely something that I'd like to invest into is a sauna. People talk about sauning all the time. And this is kind of where my crunchy perspective comes in, okay? Because there are lots of different sauna things out there. We'll put it that way because there are ones that are like the pop-up ones at home. But me being the crunchy person that I am, those are all plastic. So when you're sweating and then your skin is your biggest organ on your body, you are just absorbing all of these microplastics. It's kind of like counterintuitive, right? Maybe that's just my own opinion, but I was even talking to my naturopathic doctor about this and she was like, "I need you to sauna. I need you to like sweat out your toxins." And I'm like, "I'm trying." I'm trying here. And I'm like, "I just don't want to get one of those pop-up things because they're just made all of plastic." And she's like, "Yeah, I know." So, finding the best alternative, I feel like the best thing you can do, and this is what I'm trying to do, is working out and sweating, but I know that everyone can't just work out every single day or just sweat naturally. I feel like I have to work really, really hard. Like I got to be running, like running a few miles to be getting that sweat on. It's a great investment. I think if anyone can, do that, I feel like in my forever home, whenever I decide to build one or my husband and I do, we will definitely invest in a sauna because they are so beneficial for your heart health, for just like overall blood flow, even detoxifying different toxins out of your body, your immune system, even just your nervous system as well. There's so many benefits to that. And if you guys are curious, I'll obviously dive deeper into that too. But I feel like that's just a really great one that anyone can benefit from if you obviously have the funds to do it. And then kind of going into other things that you can buy that can really help your life, help your body, help you feel better is blue light blocking. Blue light blocking anything. This is something that I have invested into, but I'm awful at doing it. So I feel like it's something that I need to take my own advice in, and I need to actually wear my blue light blocking glasses because I look at screens all the time. I'm on my school community all the time. I'm on my TikTok. Like I'm just constantly looking at screens, and that just affects us so much more than we think. I don't even think that there's profound, I mean, like enough data in the sense of how it actually affects us long term because we've only had these little tablets and things on, in our lives for so long, right? So it's going to be really interesting when we see in like, 20, 25, 30, 35 years, like the effect of blue light. So kind of taking precautions now in general is always going to help you. And I think it just helps you sleep better at night. It's something that I struggle with too. I really try to put on my blue light glasses because my body is able to calm down. And if you guys don't know this, your eyes are literally the most profound thing that we have on our bodies. Obviously, next to like our heart and everything that's kind of pumping and all that good stuff. But our eyes literally communicate to our brain what's going on, especially when we have something like a phone, right? Constantly being transmitted to our eyes. It's only telling our brain, blah, 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 this, or we're under stress, or, all these different things that are going on in our bodies. I know for me, it can actually cause me to be a bit more stressed because I'm constantly looking at this or my eyes hurt. I feel like everyone has it. Like you're looking at your phone too much and your eyes are hurting. It's just one of those things. Definitely investing in that, but it kind of leads me into a segue of another product that I actually want to invest into. And I think that it's been really cool to see is circadian rhythm lights. I saw a brand who actually had this, and I know there's different qualities. There's ones that are just kind of like on Amazon or something like that, and they don't actually really do that because most lights actually have a flickering behind them when you get to understand lights more, bulbs or whatnot, fluorescents especially. People always express that they have headaches when they're under fluorescents all the time. It doesn't surprise me because of the flickering, but our eyes can't see it. It's moving so quickly that we can't even see that flickering going on, which is actually creating a lot of stress on our brain, on our body. And that's why I say that our eyes are so important too in protecting them, is because they're just transmitting what they're seeing and that's causing a lot of stress, right? So it's kind of ever evolving and it's all connected to one another. Definitely important and definitely something that I want to invest into. So there's night lights, there's actual bulbs, they're red light, like literally red light ones or circadian rhythm ones basically that I want to try. But all to say, those are great investments that I think anyone can implement to really help their life and to feel better and just have a more calmed nervous system. I talk about this so frequently on in my community with everyone else is we are under so much stress all the time and we don't even know it. And this is something I talked to my naturopathic doctor about. It's like, I don't even feel like I'm really stressed. And she's like, well, your blood work says different, And so I had to have those hard conversations and I had to be like, turning the mirror towards myself of like, what am I doing in my life that is causing my body to be under so much stress? And I always really said, at some point in my life that I feel like I'm very much a high, like functioning anxiety person. Like I just am very good at being productive. I'm very good at getting things done. I'm very good at, getting through my day and everything that I wanted to do, I'll get done. But that's like a high functioning anxiety because when I'm not doing something, then that's the con of this is I feel like I should have been doing something then too. So finding ways to calm our nervous system down. Obviously, you guys know about the other side of this where we could talk about different things that could help. And if you guys are curious about that too, I can obviously dive a little bit deeper, but it is a great thing to kind of think about and to really just ponder because I know for myself, I've had to do that a few times too. So now we've talked about a few things of free ways to biohack and then also things that you can invest into. I feel like I want to talk about the good stuff, the crunchy stuff, all the stuff that I feel like I have made like big changes in my life that have really helped me. We're going to start specifically when it comes to physical things that you can change that will improve your health, will improve different things. And I honestly have seen lots of different studies about all these different bullet points that I have here, but I really want to talk about hair first. Hair is so important. I talk all the time about our hair health, hair quality, being able to help it grow. And there's great things that I could talk about and give you recommendations for that too. But for our hair and the things that we're putting on it is same thing. Like our skin, our hair is an organ. It's going to absorb all the things we're putting on it. Making sure that we have shampoos, conditioners that don't have phthalates or sulfates or any sort of plastics. You would not believe how many shampoos and conditioners I have looked at that have all of these toxic chemicals. And the reason why is one, because it's cheap and it's easier for a company to be able to, sell you something and then say, oh, well, yeah, like you're getting all of these things. But when it's the last ingredient on the bottle, you're not really getting anything out of it, right? Reading your labels is really important, but the most important thing about shampoos and conditioners is making sure that you have something that is non-toxic. I am a huge fan of Primally Pure. You guys know this. I love their stuff. I do have a code with them as well, which is BiotalkwithBails10, which will save you some cash as well if you guys want to check them out. But all to say, finding a great place, even Row Casa Organics is great. They have great shampoos, conditioners, like finding good alternatives that are really going to help you and help with that hair health is going to make a world's difference. I see so many people I talk to on one-on-ones where like my hair won't grow. I don't know what's wrong. And I always ask, like, what are you using? Are you using Pantene? Are you using like I don't even know the other ones out there because I just don't even look at them anymore. But like Revlon, like they probably have stuff. I think it's like actually a hair styling situation. But there's so many brands out there that like Fructis, the Garnier Fructis, that's a huge one too. Like finding ones that, are probably a bit toxic and you're using that constantly, like it can actually affect a lot deeper though too. And that's a whole nother gambit we can get into as well, is it affects your endocrine disruptors. So specifically when it comes to women, our endocrine system responds in so many different ways. Our hormones, right? Like we have four different phases, like our luteal, ovulation, menses, all that stuff can be affected by the products that we consume. I saw a study in probably the past month or so that a typical woman in America puts over like 800 to 1,000 chemicals on their body a day. A day. Imagine that. Trying to detoxify 800 to 1,000 different chemicals out of your body, it physically can't do it. There's no way, right? And that's why I talk so much about detoxifying ourselves, different ways to get into that. And we're going to do a whole episode about detoxifying. And I know a lot of you guys have been begging me for that. So we're going to dive deep into that in another episode. But there's so many things that you can do to really help support that, because when your endocrine system is down, it affects your immune system, it affects your nervous system, it affects so many things. But all to say, hair care is very important. Making sure you have a good shower filter too. So making sure there's actual ones that are doing the full filtration. I am just a hair guru. I've gone through so many different hair filters, and I feel like there's just there's a lot of great ones out there. Surprisingly, there's one at Home Depot called Sprite, Sprite, literally like the soda, and it's amazing. And you can change out the filter as often as you need, and it's like 11 layers. It's amazing. So there's different great alternatives out there that aren't going to break the bank. I feel like there's so many different brands out there finally coming out talking about filtration and all that stuff, but they're not actually filtering anything. So making sure that you have some good information on that, I feel like is always good. And I can always give you guys some more recommendations there too. Diving a little bit deeper into things that we put on us, things that are giving us that toxic kind of, it can make us sick, not great, even leading to cancers as well, right? Like that's a whole gambit. But the clothes that we put on, and am I perfect? No. Today I'm not wearing 100% cotton, so don't come for me. But 100% organic, like recycled cotton, and the way and where it comes from is incredibly important. The leading cancer in men is testicular cancer. So it's kind of scary, right? Like it's something that I feel like is not talked about enough for men, and that advocacy for men there, because think about it this way, they're wearing boxers every single day, and testicular cancer is obviously with that. And majority of the places out there, and I hate to even say it, but like Lululemon, right? All of the fabrics that they have are either like elastin or nylon. It is literally just a fancy way of saying garbage plastic. Basically, it's garbage plastic. And you're paying $80 for this stuff to literally eventually, and I don't say this as a certainty, right? Nothing is a certainty, but it can potentially lead to a higher risk, right, of testicular cancer. Very similar to women. I think of this all the time. Our bras, the most important thing, probably that, and your freaking, undergarments as well. Make sure that you have something that is 100% organic cotton. I switched this stuff. It was so easy to. You could go on Amazon right now and they have different 100% organic cotton bras that you can find. Yes, there's better options like Pact, PACT. That's a brand. That's where I get most of my bras from. Like they're just the best. It's 100% organic cotton. I don't have to worry about that leaking in, and because my skin is the biggest organ in my body. So you can see how it's all kind of playing together and it molding together and how important it is. But making sure that we at least have those areas covered in the right things, I feel like it's always like a hot topic of conversation and something that I feel like should be prioritized when we talk about things that we wear. Obviously, for me, I've been trying to switch every single thing for the past like 2.5 years to cotton, as much cotton as physically possible. Yes, there are things that I like to buy, things that I like to wear that are not 100% organic cotton. It's impossible. And that's why I always like to use the phrase of, you know, you don't have to be perfect, but like you can strive towards a better, healthier life. No one will ever be perfect just because of the air that we breathe, right? And that's a whole nother conversation for a different day. But we can control the things that we can control, and don't beat yourself down for the things that you can't, right? And I think that that's where, holistic health and what that really means to me and being a crunchy individual is I just care about all the things that I can control, not necessarily things that I can't, but what can I control on a daily basis? Literally today, because there's Amazon Prime Day deals, I finally bought some nice air purifiers. That leads me into so many other things in our house that we can change, being able to purify the air that we breathe. That's going to help so much. I am someone, as you guys know, and if you don't, I was exposed to mold in a previous house for the past, it was basically like 4 years of my life. I don't know if it was black mold or if it was some sort of mold, but it was very prevalent in my blood work. All to say, air purification is so important just because it's going to help with dust, dander, pet hair, all the things that we just can't see. Those little teeny tiny micrograms or microbiome, whatever they are, you can't see them. But if you get a good filter, a good air purifier, it can make a world's difference for you, even with allergies too. Like that was something that was very prevalent for me and very prevalent in my life is I had chronic more allergies ever in the past 4 years than I ever did. I never had any issues growing up as a kid because you guys kind of got that insight of my background and my experience, but I was pretty healthy growing up. I wasn't ever really sick. And so when all of a sudden I'm getting these allergies and then I'm sick and then I'm sick for multiple months and then 5 times a year, like that was way too much for me. So I knew that something was kind of going on, but I'll just say having an air purifier is really, really going to make a world's difference. And you can even tell when you breathe cleaner air. It's just like, oh, like you go by the ocean and you have that fresh air, that ocean air. It's so good. It's so good for our mental state. It's good for our bodies. It's good for detoxification. So many things that I feel like are beneficial, and definitely one that I would highly, highly suggest investing into too. And it probably falls into the investing category, but for me, it was kind of a non-negotiable, and I feel like I should have invested in it sooner. We've had a few, but they haven't been as high quality as something like the Air Doctor as well. So that's just another conversation about physical things. And then also kind of talking a little bit more about outside environments. So things that we can control, right? I kind of mentioned that, and I kind of, talked about the things that, we consume or we watch or we breathe, big ones. And I am I am at fault for this, you guys. So I love candles. I do. I am a candle hoarder. I love candles. I stopped probably lighting them for a good amount of time. I would say probably within like 6 months or so. But I'll just say I love a good fresh candle. There's lots of healthy versions out there too that are like beeswax and essential oils and all that kind of stuff. But candles are very toxic to our endocrine system. It puts us basically on overdrive. Negating the candles, things like in our house, even cleaners. That's a big one that I have really been honing in on in my life as well. We've used different products. I've always been pretty crunchy about that though too. Like your laundry detergent, like what's actually in that. There's like formaldehyde in different detergents, and there's different like things that go in cars basically in your detergent. Like we should be so much more careful because, right? We clean our clothes and then that gets absorbed on our skin, on our legs, on our body. Being able to control it, you can literally negate that by just switching it, right? Yes, obviously budget plays a role with all of these things, but giving you guys an encouragement of like make those small switches. I always shoot for a goal in my brain, in my mind of I'm going to swap one thing this month, one tiny thing. It could be something as small as like I don't even know. Like the towels, your hand towels that you have, swap those out and get organic cotton ones. Or for me, my last month, what I did is I actually swapped out my toilet paper. Funny enough, I just got so deep in the rabbit hole, the bleached toilet paper and how bad that is, especially, for women too, because there's obviously cancers that kind of lie within the, South department. But switching that over is so important. And it literally only cost me like $10 more, I think, for the whole year. So you can make these easy switches and you can implement them and not have to spend an arm and a leg either. So finding the right resources is one half the battle, but it just takes a little bit of work. And obviously, I always have recommendations for you guys too. But it's definitely helped me achieve that small goal of like every quarter, I'm going to get something that's a little bit less toxic than this, and I'm going to strive to kind of keep that there, right? And like I said, we're all imperfect and we all fall short. But definitely a few things that I feel like can really help. We talked about candles, perfumes are a big one. This is one that to be honest, I didn't really use perfumes because I knew that they were toxic. And as much as I loved a good like Tom Ford, or I mean, there's so many different kinds of there. I'm kind of losing my train of thought, but a good Tom Ford perfume is like to die for. So good. But realize those are probably one of the most toxic things that we can consume, actually next to something like chapstick, which is crazy, but we'll get into that. Perfume, same thing. When you're spraying this on yourself, you will note that it's not only you're inhaling it through like your nose, and your nose has all these filtration, which is those little hairs, right? So when people shave their nose, like you're actually shaving like the things that are filtering all the way up to your brain. Keep the nose hairs, even if they're a little bit out, just trim them. Take my piece of advice for all the men that you love in your house, and even for yourself, women. I know there's a few that you got to pluck every now and then, but making sure when it comes to perfumes that we have something that's non-toxic. I found one that was through somebody that also started a non-toxic skincare brand that it's called ESAS, and they use only things that are basically from the earth. They smell amazing. They have like discovery kits. They have stuff that's just, you can get like a free discovery kit and you pay like $50 and you get to use $50 for your next purchase. Like it's just really great. So I'll just say I finally found a good switch because I miss the smell of perfume. Like I don't like candles anymore. I just miss the smell of something different. I have the peace of mind knowing that I'm not altering my hormones. I'm not affecting even like my menstrual cycle, because your menstrual cycle can actually get affected if your endocrine system is too out of whack. That's kind of where, even potential like PCOS comes into play, and then irregular cycles is because our body's trying to detoxify so much of all these nasty things. And definitely something that I feel like everyone should make the switch over to. That's just one place. There's a lot of other ones kind of coming out on the market right now, but perfume is great, especially if you still like that. I know that there's actual men scents too for all my men watching. They have different colognes and all that good stuff, which I feel like is very, very beneficial, and we all want to smell good, right? I feel like I want to smell good all the time. And, it's hard when you kind of give up those things. Those are just a few things that I really recommend, especially physical things you can change. Like I said, don't strive for perfection. Strive for one thing every 3 months or so. It's going to make a world's difference. I've been doing this for literally like 3 or 4 years now. And I feel like I have a lot of good non-toxic things in my house, and I'm very grateful that I implemented. One of the most important things that I feel like is really beneficial for every single person is supplements. We are a part of America, if you didn't know. Maybe I have some Canadians. You can, disregard yourself as well, or my Australians as well. But everyone in the US, we could probably all agree that we don't get all the micro and macronutrients that we need from our food. Typically, it's because of the soil that things are grown in or harvested in, and then they're, sprayed with pesticides. And like, are we actually eating food? I don't really know. Let me know in the comments, because there's a lot of things that are actually fake food, and we need to be getting good micro macronutrients from our food, and we're just not getting them. That's where supplements come into play. And I really want to talk about this, and I can honestly make a whole podcast really about this, but I honestly believe that having good quality supplements is everything. I just got my blood work back recently from my naturopathic doctor, and she told me that I'm zinc deficient, I'm iron deficient, I'm vitamin D deficient, and I am magnesium deficient. That tells me, for me at least, and this is why I always believe in blood work as well, because the supplements that I was spending money on and consuming on a daily basis were doing zilch for me, zippity doo dah. So I found out that, okay, I'm not going to continue to keep investing in these products that are literally not even allowing me to be at the average amount of what I need for a daily intake of my vitamins. It allowed me to switch and look for other options. The first thing that I did was I actually have a supplement that I love. It's called Heart and Soil. They are amazing. They are beef organs. So this is kind of a 50-50 for some people. Some people are like, ooh, that's gross, or ooh, blah, blah, blah. Like, they just have opinions, and that's fine if you're kind of on the fence and you're trying to figure things out, or you're just trying to learn. Heart and Soil is super amazing. The guy who actually owns the business, he talks a ton about like the upbringing of Heart and Soil, why he started it. It's basically like our birthright is what it's called. So like our birthright to nutrition, like it is our birthright to be able to have the things that we need to have in order to live a good, healthy life. And I just really aligned with that. I feel like that's something that I've always aligned with, is having longevity and better health. And that's what holistic health means to me. The cool thing about his stuff though is like there's very much like different options for men, for women, and then also for like energy, and then helping with like our overall system, but they're beef organs, because back in the day, what did our ancestors consume? Beef organs, beef, meat, and all my vegans out there, I'm sorry, but there's definitely some benefits and some different science behind how beneficial beef organs are for our brain, for, our digestion, for just overall longevity, for our bones. Like, there's so many things. And so I'll just say it's a great supplement. It's one that I actually pretty much use on a daily basis for like prenatals and just like getting more micro macronutrients in, all that kind of stuff, just because there's like iron in there, and even like some magnesium. There's lots of things that we can dive into, but it's really great. I will say another one that obviously, like myself, I'm deficient in is magnesium. So finding a good magnesium supplement, I was actually just recommended from my naturopathic doctor to get one, and I'll have to give you guys some more information on that and how I like it. But magnesium glycinate is fantastic. Citrate, so the difference between the two is really magnesium citrate helps with the movement. So a lot of people who are typically like constipated and whatnot, it really does kind of go through you. But citrate is the best absorbed magnesium on the market, where glycinate is just really great all the way around for like good health. For me specifically, it's actually just for like good sleep, and then helping with my nervous system, that balance there. And we're just all naturally deficient in that. Magnesium plays a very big role in our nervous system, our immune health, and helping with our brain to some degree too. So it's very important, and we're all naturally deficient, like I said. Lots of different supplements, things that I use on a daily basis. Vitamin D is also very good, and this was one that I was chronically deficient in. I'll just say I took one, and it was honestly a liposomal. So I thought I was getting really great, benefits from it, because I knew how chronically low I probably was. but I wasn't actually absorbing anything. So I literally talked to my naturopath about this the other day. And I was like, I've been taking like a liposomal for like 2.5 years now. Like, how am I still deficient? She's like, it's because it's not getting to a point basically like in your gut that's absorbing well enough for a higher potency to be able to be doing any sort of benefit. And obviously, my mold plays a big role in all of this too. But I know that I don't get the sun for about 4 months out of the year. Imagine someone who compounds over time. It's, 8 months in every 2 years and all that kind of stuff. It's just too much of not having enough sunshine to help with our circadian rhythm, fighting for balance, homeostasis, all that kind of stuff. So, all to say, I'm trying a new vitamin D supplement that also has K2 in it. I mean, the other one I had K2 too, so I was really confused. But all to say, getting your blood work done to be able to find different supplements that can help you are great. I even talk so much about this on my TikTok, and not necessarily like it's a gimmick, but it kind of feels like a gimmick to me sometimes. Is we get vitamin B12 in so many things that we eat or consume or drink. Found out that Red Bull actually has B12. My brother put me on that. So I'll just say, whenever I hear of like a place, whether it's like, an Orange Theory or like a med spa, and they're like, we're doing free B12 today. It's like, how can you give free B12 to someone? For example, for myself, I am very high in B12. I don't need any more. It can actually affect me on a fatigue level, and it's doing more harm than it is good. So why are we giving out free B12 just because? Because it's supposed to, in theory, help with energy. There are so many other compounds out there that are much better at energy, in my opinion, but that's a topic for another day. Getting your blood work done to know, what can I use? What shouldn't I use? What are things that I feel like I need to supplement into my body that will make me feel better, live longer, have a happier life, like healthier and happier outlook on life, I feel like is so important. So those are a few different ones that I really implemented. I will say curcumin is also one too that I've had for years. This one is great for anti-inflammation. For me, most of you guys know that my biggest problems I ever had was I was chronically inflamed. You know me, being the crunchy girl I am, I looked into every single avenue of what can I do for anti-inflammation? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Curcumin was one of those ones that really actually felt like it made a difference for me. I noticed that like my face would be less puffy. My joints actually felt better. It helped me recover better. My brother actually went through a time where he had plantar fasciitis, I believe, or like the onset symptoms of plantar fasciitis, and took curcumin and completely like healed him almost, right? Like there's times where things kind of come up just because of the wear and tear and, being on your feet and stuff like that. But how amazing that something like that can really improve quality of life, and it can really improve how we feel on a daily basis. For me, I just notice obviously inflammation in like my overall like body, but specifically even for someone who has something a bit more chronic, curcumin can be fantastic. It's an amazing supplement. It's just so profound. I feel like a lot of people sleep on her. And then obviously talking, about other supplements too. Those are some main ones that I feel like are really great that you could definitely implement. Obviously, get your blood work done. See what's kind of going on underneath the hood. Some people are deficient in vitamin B6 or iron or magnesium, any of those things. And you'd be so surprised with like an easy blood work, and an additional supplement can change your life and make you feel so much better. And I'm really excited to see what that looks like for me. But I feel like those are really just the main crunchy things that I feel like we talked about today. And I love talking so much about just different options, different things you can do. And to be fair, a lot of this is really in our control, right? Like there are things that we, can control, like those outside factors in the air we breathe and trying to make our lives better. But at the same time, there are things that we can implement every single day to improve our quality of life and to make us sleep better, right? And obviously, we can go into the whole other side of this too, of things you can implement as well to help, not just supplementation, but, obviously PEPs. If you guys ever have questions about this too, if you guys want me to dive deeper into specific things about this, maybe even just doing a deeper dive, I feel like I want to do episodes called deep dives on this, deep dives on that, because these are just such big topics of conversation that we could talk about these for literally ever. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any questions at all. We're going to wrap up for this podcast. If you guys have any sort of recommendations though, feel free to get connected in my school. If you like the video, make sure you like it, share it, subscribe. We're going to be posting as much as we can, hopefully at least maybe once or twice per month. And then obviously I will be posting additional podcasts as well for my school students, and we'll go from there. But just so happy you guys are here. And as always, I'm so happy to help. And I am always happy that you guys are here.